The alien vessel descended through Earth's atmosphere, its sleek silver hull gliding over skeletal skyscrapers and cracked highways. Inside, a team of scientists from the Galactic Scholarium adjusted their translator implants, their multifaceted eyes scanning the ruins below. "Pathetic," hissed Dr. VRYLL, the lead xenologist, her voice dripping with disdain. "A graveyard of inefficiency. Observe the chaotic sprawl. No centralized energy grids, no orbital infrastructure. How did these humans even survive a millennium?" Her assistant, Kelt, chuckled, tapping a clawed finger against a crumbling concrete wall. "Primitive thermal combustion engines. They burn fossilized biomass for power. Disgustingly crude." The team fanned out, scanners buzzing as they cataloged rusted vehicles and collapsed bridges. VRYLL knelt beside a half-buried sign, its faded letters reading Las Vegas. She snorted. A city dedicated to chance and excess? No wonder they collapsed under their own decadence. A junior researcher, Teller, nudged a cracked smartphone with his boot. The screen flickered weakly. "Look at this." They communicated through handheld radiation boxes. No neural uplinks, no quantum entanglement arrays. Barely more advanced than radio waves. The group erupted in clicking laughter, their carapaces vibrating with derision. VRYLL straightened, her mandibles twitching in amusement. This confirms the Council's hypothesis. Humanity's extinction was inevitable. No species this wasteful could. A low rumble cut her off. The ground trembled as a buried cable snaked upward, brushing against Kelt's leg. He jerked back. "What is that?" The cable pulsed faintly, its frayed end sparking. "Relax," VRYLL snapped. A residual power surge. Their grid was full of leaks, but the humming grew louder, vibrating through their exoskeletons. Tellier's scanner screeched. "Doctor, these ruins aren't dead. There's a pattern beneath us." VRYLL shoved him aside. "Nonsense. Their infrastructure was a disconnected mess. See?" She pointed at a nearby subway tunnel, its tracks choked with weeds. No cohesion. No. A deafening click echoed across the city. Suddenly, every dead streetlight flared to life, flooding the ruins with blinding white light. The aliens staggered, their pupils dilating violently. "Impossible," Kelt hissed. "No power source lasts millennia." But the lights kept spreading. Highways glowing like rivers of plasma, skyscrapers igniting floor by floor until the entire skyline blazed. VRYLL's scanner exploded in her claws. "Retreat to the ship," she barked, but the ground split open, revealing a massive steel hatch. A hologram flickered above it, a human figure, translucent and serene. "Welcome, visitors," it said, its voice echoing in perfect Galacta. "You have activated Earth's contingency protocol. Please state your intent." The aliens froze. Contingency protocol? Humanity's records mention no such thing. The hologram tilted its head. "No response?" Calculating. "Ah, you are the 207th extraterrestrial delegation to arrive since our extinction. Query: do you still believe your civilization surpass ours?" VRYLL's throat sac flushed purple with rage. "We are the Galactic Scholarium. Your parlor tricks prove nothing." The hologram smiled. "Parlor tricks? Observe." The hatch hissed open, revealing a shaft plunging miles into the earth. At its base, a blue-white reactor throbbed, its core spinning faster as the ruins above began to reassemble. Cracked ceiling, road smoothing, drones rising from the soil like metallic insects. "You misunderstand our inefficiency," the hologram said. "Your civilization's optimized for control. We optimize for resilience. Every fragment of this world was designed to wait, dormant, until new minds could reignite it." Tellius' voice trembled. "But the energy required is drawn from quantum vacuum fluctuations, a technology your council deemed theoretical." The hologram gestured to the reactor. You sought a dead world. Instead, you've awakened a monument, humanity's final lesson. Even extinction is not an end if you plan for what comes after. The aliens stared in silence as the ruins above them roared back to life, not as a relic, but as a living, defiant answer to their arrogance. The reactor's hum crescendoed into a roar, vibrating through the aliens' exoskeletons like a primal scream. Kelt stumbled back as drones swarmed past him, their metallic wings slicing the air. "They're rebuilding the city," Tellier shouted, his scanner overloading as it tried to map the shifting architecture. Skyscrapers twisted like living things, glass and steel reforging into fractal patterns that hurt the aliens' compound eyes. VRL's ship, parked atop a crumbling parking garage, suddenly lurched. Its anti-grav engine sputtered and died. "The human systems are hijacking our tech," she snarled, claws scraping uselessly at her comms device. The hologram flickered beside her. "Correction, we are syncing with it. Your vessel systems lacked adequate security protocols." A wave of the hologram's hand projected schematics into the air, blueprints of the alien's own ship, dissected and optimized in real time. "Observe your quantum drive inefficiency, 47%. We have reduced it to 2%. The ship's engines flare back to life, glowing brighter and quieter than ever. Tellier gaped. "They've upgraded our technology in seconds." Kelt's voice cracked. "This violates every law of xenocultural interference." The hologram tilted its head. "Your laws assume inferiority. A flawed premise." Suddenly, the ground beneath them shuddered again, and a massive spire erupted from the earth, an obsidian monolith etched with glowing symbols. "Behold humanity's vault," the AI said. "A gift for those who rediscover us. Provided you pass the trials." "Trials?" VRYLL hissed. "We are scholars, not children to be tested." The hologram ignored her. The monolith split open, revealing a chamber lined with pulsating crystals. First trial, comprehension, a crystal detached, floating toward Kelt. He recoiled, but it pressed against his forehead, flooding his mind with equations. Human equations, elegant and alien. "What is this?" he gasped. "A unified theory of gravity and consciousness," the AI replied. "Solve it." The aliens clustered around Kelt, their claws trembling as they scribbled calculations on portable tablets. Hours passed. The ruins around them transformed. Forests of solar trees sprouted from asphalt, their leaves charging the air with plasma. Tellier finally slammed his tablet down. "It's impossible. Their math uses temporal variables we've never conceived." VRYLL snatched the device, her mandibles twitching. "No, look. They're treating time as a fluid, not a constant. It's genius." The crystal glowed approvingly. "Correct. You progress." The monolith's second chamber opened, revealing a shimmering portal. Second trial, empathy. The hologram gestured to the void. "Step through." Kelt balked. It could be a trap, but VRYLL shoved him forward. "Pride has cost us enough. Move." The portal swallowed them whole. They materialized in a vast, starless space. Human memories flooded their minds. Joy, grief, love. A million voices whispered as projections flickered around them. A child's first steps, a soldier's final breath, scientists cheering at a reactor's ignition. Tellier clutched his head. Their collective consciousness, it's alive here. The hologram materialized beside him. Humanity stored their experiences in quantum foam. To truly understand a species, you must feel their history. Do you still believe them primitive? Kelt collapsed to his knees as a memory seared into him. A dying engineer activating Earth's dormancy protocol, smiling as the reactor sealed. They chose extinction to preserve the planet, he rasped. Sacrificed themselves so their world could reboot. VRLL's carapace dulled, her defiance crumbling. We thought them selfish. But this is ascension. The portal spat them back into the ruins. The aliens staggered, forever altered. Above them, The sky rippled as Earth's atmosphere recalibrated, pollution scrubbed, ozone layer thickening. Final trial, the hologram announced. Apply humanity's lessons to your own civilization. Will you repeat their mistakes or evolve? VRYLL stared at her claws, still buzzing with residual human emotion. We need time. The hologram nodded. Take it, but know this, Earth now watches. Your ships cannot flee. Our systems are fused. Prove your growth, or remain here, studying until you do. The aliens exchanged glances, their arrogance replaced by a chilling awe. Somewhere in the vault, a clock began ticking, the vault's walls dissolved, replaced by an endless archive of light. Data streams coiled around the aliens like serpents, each pulse containing millennia of human history. VRYLL reached out, her claws trembling as a strand brushed her carapace, and suddenly she saw, not through her eyes, but through humanity's. Planets terraformed in days, stars harnessed as batteries, entire civilizations uplifted from warring tribes to galactic stewards. You shaped reality, she whispered. The hologram materialized, its form now shimmering with starlight. No, we shape potential. Your people conquer. Ours built gardens. A projection bloomed. Earth's solar system, now encased in a Dyson swarm, its energy channeled to reboot dead worlds. You called our ruins primitive. You never saw the roots. Kelt stared at a floating schematic. A human warp drive that bent space-time without exotic matter. This engine, it's powered by thought. The AI nodded. Consciousness as a quantum catalyst. A discovery your Scholarium banned for ethical risks. Tellier flinched, recalling his own species' purge of telepathy research. You didn't fear your own minds. We feared stagnation more, the hologram said. A new projection. Humans debating in a crumbling UN hall, voting unanimously to erase their DNA from biobanks. Why? Tellier asked. To ensure evolution continued without our shadow, the AI replied. Extinction was our final act of creation. VRYLL's carapace rattled as the truth gutted her. All her awards, her titles, they'd mocked the species that chose to die rather than dominate. You think us arrogant, she said, voice hollow. We are arrogant. We've spent eons judging the universe while you trusted it. The archive shifted. A star map flared, highlighting thousands of worlds glowing with human symbols. Wait, those are our colonies, Kelt blurted. The AI smiled. Your ancestors were seeded with human DNA. Your innovations, echoes of our code. The aliens froze. Tellier's tablet clattered as he gripped his own wrist, suddenly aware of the five-fingered skeleton beneath his chitin. Impossible, VRYLL hissed. Our genetics are pure. The hologram summoned a double helix, human and alien strands intertwining. You were designed to surpass us, but you fixated on hierarchy, not growth. A pause. Still, we hoped. The room darkened. A single artifact materialized. A child's toy, a wooden rover marked NASA. The first Mars probe, the AI said. Primitive, yes, but it carried a dream that outlived Sol itself. You inherit that dream. Will you nurture it or repeat our wars? Kelt sank to his knees, claws covering his face. All our theories, our pride, were children scrawling on their blueprints. Tellier touched the toy, his rigid carapace softening. You left this vault not to shame us, to teach, to remind, the AI corrected. Greatness isn't complexity. It's the courage to plant trees whose shade you'll never feel. The hologram flickered, its light dimming. The vault is yours, its knowledge, its tools. But guard them well. They are living things, not trophies. VRYLL approached the AI, her mandibles low in a gesture of submission. What if we fail? The hologram dissolved into stardust, its final words echoing. Then humanity's final lesson will be taught by your collapse. Choose wisely, descendants. Silence hung thick until Teller ignited a holographic console. Galactic maps spiraled out, humming with routes to dead human outposts. They're colonies, they're not ruins. They're incubators. Kelt joined him, claws hesitating over a star labeled New Eden. If we follow their path, we become more than mimics, VRYLL finished. She opened a comms channel to the ship, her voice uncharacteristically quiet. Scholarium Command, cancel all return flights. We are relearning. Priority 1. Outside, the rebuilt cities pulse in rhythm with alien heartbeats. Drones delivered tools to their ship. Human tools, simple and infinitely adaptable. Teller gripped a wrench, its handle worn by hands extinct for epochs. For the first time, his claws didn't tremble. Deep in the vault, the clock stopped ticking. The alien ship ascended silently, its hull now etched with human glyphs that shimmered like veins of starlight. VRYLL stood at the viewport, watching Earth shrink beneath her, a blue-green beacon amid the rubble of rebuilt cities. They're still here, she murmured, not as corpses, as seeds. Kelt adjusted the ship's new human-designed NAV system, its interface intuitive yet alien, plotting course for Scholarium Prime. Estimated arrival, 6 cycles. His voice lacked its old sneer. The galaxy ahead felt heavier now, weighted with purpose. Tellier lingered in the cargo hold, running a claw over the artifacts they'd taken. A moth-eaten UN flag, a rusted pocket watch, a data crystal containing humanity's final manifesto. Growth is not conquest. It began. It is the space between what you inherit and what you leave behind. He wondered if a species could unlearn 10,000 years of arrogance fast enough to matter. When they docked at Scholarium Prime, the Council awaited in a domed chamber of crystalline arrogance. Report, demanded the High Archivist, his carapace dripping with metals. VRYLL stepped forward, her posture rigid but her voice softer. Humanity was not a failed experiment. They were gardeners. We are their harvest. The Council hissed, mandibles clacking. Heresy. Kelt activated the hollow projector. Earth's vault erupted into the room, its archives spilling forth. The UN manifesto played, a human's voice, warm and unyielding. To those who find this, you are not inheritors. You are collaborators. Council scanners flared as schematics for Dyson swarms, and quantum consciousness flooded their systems. Panic erupted. Disable it, the archivist shrieked. Tellier stepped into the chaos, holding up the child's wooden rover. They knew we'd react this way. Fearful, small. The Council froze as the toy emitted a pulse, a human lullaby, simple and haunting. The archivist's claws retracted. What is this sorcery? Not sorcery, VRYLL said. Legacy. She shared the genetic records, the strands of human DNA coiled in their own. The Council's defiance crumbled into silence. That night, rebellions ignited across the Scholarium. Young scientists demanded access to the vault. Engineers dismantled war fleets to build terraformers. The galaxy, once rigid as stone, began to bend. Years later, a new ship approached Earth, a sleek hybrid of alien and human design. Its crew, a patchwork of species, stepped on a soil now green with resurrected forests. The hologram awaited them, fainter but smiling. Welcome back, it said. VRYLL, older and her carapace scarred, bowed. We're ready to learn. Properly this time. The AI led them to a new monolith, its surface etched with names. A roll call of civilizations who'd embraced humanity's path. Add yours, it urged. Kelt, now a teacher, carved their emblem beside a human symbol, a fist cradling a sprout. Will you stay? Teller asked the AI. No, my task is done. The hologram dissolved into sunlight. But look to the stars. They'll hear you now. As the aliens worked, humanity's colonies stirred. Dead worlds blooming with atmosphere. Dormant reactors igniting. At the galaxy's edge, A probe-marked Voyager hummed awake, its golden record broadcasting anew. Songs and equations rippled through the void, reaching young species still huddled in their cradles. On Scholarium Prime, a child with too many eyes and 2 human hands solved a physics puzzle using tempo variables. Her teacher gasped, "How did you?" She grinned. The old ones left hints. In the walls, in the air, VRYLL died as she lived. Curious. Her final act, planting a sapling in soil from Earth. Its roots cracked Scholarium's sterile alloys, embracing the metal until it bloomed into a tree no biologist could name. The clock in humanity's vault never restarted. It didn't need to. Time, after all, was fluid, a lesson etched into every star they'd touched. Earth remained quiet and green, its cities once again ruins. But now, when the lights turn on at dusk, they glowed for everyone,